This is Getting Ridiculous, written by SaysiWrites and read by Eleanor Elizabeth. Summary. We're probably immune now or something. Narrator. They were not immune. Bakugou and Midoriya have another encounter with everyone's favourite de-aging villain. How are the class going to cope with two tiny classmates? It was barely halfway through the day when the alarm went off, various devices throughout the school lighting up with warnings. Aizawa grimaced as he read the screen, glancing over the class of teenagers in the training grounds. You have a free period, use it to do work, or I will know. Ida, you're in charge. What happened, Sensei? The demands were immediate. Everyone was wide-eyed and confused, swarming around their teacher. What's going on? A certain friend of ours has managed to break out of his cell. Friend? Bakugou and Midoriya's friend, I should say. Midoriya froze, slowly turning his head to look at Bakugou across the group, seeing the look of frustration and determination warring on his face. We'll handle it, Midoriya said firmly, adjusting his glove. He's not actually a good fighter. We're probably immune now or something, Bakugou agreed, picking up his heavy gauntlets. As a responsible adult, I can't let you do that. Then it's a good thing you're not, Bakugou snorted. Come on, Deku. He swiped the device from Aizawa's hand as he passed, pleased to see that the man made no move to stop him, and glanced at the location. Nearby. Of course it was. Midoriya hesitated, but his teacher's face didn't give anything away. So when he passed by slowly and didn't hear a word of it, he nodded. We'll take care of it, he agreed finally. Let's go, Kachan. As soon as they were out of the training ground, they began to run. Midoriya shifted some powers into his legs to move faster, and Bakugou responded with his explosions, keeping pace easily. They both knew how this man worked. Both knew how to handle him. Both... Oh. Midoriya realized too late Bakugou had never actually fought the guy. He'd been caught off guard, taken by surprise, where Midoriya had been the one to fight. He has some martial arts skills, Midoriya yelled from across the street as they drew closer to the commotion. But the quirk's the only concerning part. Got it. I'll distract him while you blast him, okay? Just promise you'll look after me if he gets me again? Obviously, idiot. Midoriya smiled to himself, remembering every duh and obviously he'd dealt with while Bakugou was a kid again, but didn't bother to vocalize it when the man came into sight. Go! Midoriya yelled, launching straight in to punch the man in the face. This is for making me a toddler. The man managed to move just in time, only scraped by the passing blow, but the kick that came with it landed square on his jaw. And that one is for making Kachan sad, he added with a sneer, righting himself and preparing to strike again. You want to see what you get for the heroes out here today? Midoriya felt the cold shiver running through his body, throwing himself forward to land one last blow before it was too late. An explosion roared through the air, making his ears ring. And as he hit the ground, his mind went blank. By the time the police finished restraining the knocked-out man, most of the child heroes had been picked up by their loved ones and taken away with assurances that they would be back to normal within 2 days. Aizawa sighed as he thanked the police for their work, glancing at the boy chasing butterflies happily, dragging along his teary-eyed, wobbly-smiled friend to follow. He brought them clothes when he heard the result, Yagurozu insisting on making them for him to take, and the moment they dressed themselves, they'd been off. Look, Deku! Bakugou grinned, jumping at a butterfly and missing. It's orange! Orange and black? Midoriya sniffled. The best kind. Uh-huh. With another long sigh, Aizawa dragged himself after them, squatting down to meet Bakugou's stubborn eyes. They hardened into sharp embers as soon as he got close, and he pulled Midoriya behind his back, keeping himself as a physical barrier between his soft-spoken friend and the relative stranger. Aizawa actually cracked a smile at the protectiveness. Do you remember who I am? You're that weird guy, Bakugou acknowledged. A teacher? Oh, good. So you remember the last time this happened? Bakugou paused, thinking back, then nodded faintly. Some of it. Was it a long time ago? Sure, let's go with that. Midoriya, are you okay back there? Midoriya nodded faintly, his hands curling into Bakugou's shirt, but he didn't speak. I'm not going to touch you, okay? I learned my lesson last time. Can you tell me how old you are? Midoriya looked at his hands, shaking as he found 6 fingers and held them up for him to see. 6, huh? You too, Bakugo? Yeah. Older than last time, that's good. Can you tell me what you remember from the past hour or so? Bakugo shrugged, pouting a little as he looked away stubbornly. I was sleeping and then I was here, right? What do you want to hear about? My dreams? I was fighting with All Might and kicking some dumb villain's butt, for the record. All Might was, he's older now, right? He was younger in my dream, like how he should be, for me. But I met him last time, right? I remember. It's confusing, Midoriya whispered, his fingers tightening in Bakugo's shirt. I think I remember things, but I'm not sure. Kachan was big? Yeah, Deku was big too. I remember him cooking me dinner. Where is he, anyway? Right behind you, Aizawa explained, getting a cocked eyebrow in return. You're not going forward in time. This isn't the future. Your body is being reverted to this age. Oh, so that was the real Deku, and now this is the real Deku? Correct. Huh. I guess I better take good care of you then. He turned around, pulling Midoriya's cheeks and making him whine. You gonna be good, nerd? Not gonna scream, right? I promise, Kachan. Good boy. Okay, Sensei, where are we going? The school? Yes, I suppose that's for the best. Wouldn't want anything to happen while you're unprotected. I can protect us both, Bakugo pouted. You know what I mean. I'll keep an eye on you. Make sure you get fed and all. Just don't be too much of a headache for me, alright? I can take care of us both, Bakugo complained again, a little quieter this time. I'll show you, dumb teacher. Kachan, be nice, please, Midoriya whined. You might be mad when you get big again. Ugh, you're right for once, idiot. Aizawa ushered them away from the scene, letting people do their job cleaning up the area, and somehow he found it amusing to watch Bakugo take Midoriya by the hand, leading him down the street as if he knew the way to go. It really summed up Bakugo's personality, in a way. Act confident, and people will believe that you know what you're doing. Let's go this way, Aizawa suggested, turning off down the street that would take them back to the school. We'll use the gate. Oh, fine, yeah. Midoriya looked at Bakugo as if he made the sun rise in the mornings, and Aizawa sighed as he watched them. It might have made his life easier if they'd shown up like this on his first day with them. Then again, it might have made things worse, too. With all the injuries Midoriya subjected himself to over the first year, this version of Bakugo would have had a nervous breakdown by now. Aizawa led them straight to the teacher's offices, closing the door to keep prying eyes away from the pair of children, and sat down to meet them at eye level again. You two can stay here until this is over. It'll take 2 days at the most, but seeing as he used his quirk so much today, I'm hoping it'll be less. I'm trusting you two to behave yourselves and be sensible for me. Midoriya nodded, eyes watery again, but Bakugo pouted as he considered it, weighing up his options. He could ask to go back to his parents, but then he wouldn't be able to protect Midoriya, unless Midoriya went to his own mother, but she might not let him come back to school after something like this. No, staying in school was the best, but 2 days locked in a dumb office? I want to sleep in my own bed, Bakugo demanded. I'm not sleeping in a shitty office. You live in the dorms on campus. That can be arranged. Fine, let us stay in the dorms then, instead of here. That I cannot agree to. Why not? Because your classmates are there too, and God knows what kind of antics they would get up to with you two. Deku doesn't have one stupid friend to make sure people are nice to him? Wow, it's okay, stupid Deku. I'll take care of you. I know you will, Kachan. Not happening, Aizawa said firmly. You can stay here, supervised by adults, until bedtime. Then I will personally take you to the dorms to sleep. Midoriya squeezed at Bakugo's hand lightly, and finally Bakugo nodded, sighing. Fine, I'll stay in your stupid office. You better have movies or something. I have books. Ugh. I like books, Kachan. I know you do, nerd. He trudged over to the bookshelf to search for titles, Midoriya wringing his hands nervously as he watched, and Aizawa tried his best to put a smile on his face. It'll be over soon, Midoriya. Just sit tight and everything will go back to normal, okay? Thank you, Sensei. I'm going to go check on the class. You boys stay here and be good. The moment he left the room, the familiar smirk came over Bakugo's face, and Midoriya cringed when he saw it pointed his way. That smirk never meant anything good. It was always games that would get him hurt, plans that would get him in trouble, sometimes even just words that would get him told off. I want to go see the class, he grinned, and Midoriya sighed faintly. You want to come with me? We shouldn't, Kachan. We'll get in trouble. It'll be fine. You won't get in trouble. I'll tell them I made you. Promise? Promise, stupid. Nervously, he grabbed a hold of Bakugou's t-shirt, winding his fingers in tight, and Bakugou rattled the door handle. Locked. He cackled to himself as he let his hand heat up, pushing his palm against the lock and letting off an explosion that shook the room. The door popped open, but immediately there was a different teacher in front of them, frowning as he looked down. Midoriya squeaked as he gripped tighter at Bakugou's shirt, and Bakugou raised a hand, ready to defend himself, but the man just pushed the door closed in their faces. Stay put, he said sternly. I'm watching you. Midoriya dragged Bakugou away from the door before he could get into a fight, ignoring the grumbles and muttered curses that brought with it, and soon they were sitting side by side on the couch, Midoriya's face falling while Bakugou scowled. Sorry. Bakugou sounded concerned for a moment, surprisingly soft. I didn't expect someone to be right there. It's okay. I promised you wouldn't get into trouble, though. I didn't. Not really. You can have a hug if you want. I know you're scared. Can I really? Bakugou nodded, opening his arms, and Midoriya fell into them happily, rubbing his face against Bakugou's chest. It was the first smile Bakugou had seen all day, he realized, and he had the sudden urge to protect it with his life. What do you want to do, Deku? What's going to be fun for you? I want to see the fights. Really? I saw them last time. I saw Big Kachan fighting. I remember that bit. Yeah, let's go then. How? The scary person's outside. Scary? Bakugou scoffed. He's just another teacher. He's no big deal. Aren't all the teachers heroes? I can protect you from those loser heroes. Bakugou looked around the room, contemplating, until he noticed a window high on the opposite wall. We'll go out there. How? You know how to climb, don't you? I taught you to climb trees. It's like that. Kachan will help me, right? Of course. What kind of husband would I be if I didn't help my wife escape a boring office? Okay. Midoriya grinned as he followed Bakugou across the room to inspect, contemplating the desks and shelves and potted plants scattered about, debating what would be the easiest. I could give you a boost, Midoriya offered shyly. Then you can just pull me up. Do you think you can lift me? Yeah, I can do it for Kachan. Okay, we'll try that. Midoriya crouched down beside the wall, linking his hands together and letting Bakugou put his foot in them. He braced himself against his knee as Bakugou started to stand up on him, reaching for the window ledge, and Midoriya's face scrunched up as he strained to lift him higher. I'm so close! A little more, Deku! Go! A weird spark of green light darted from his hands, but then Bakugou was grabbing the window, grinning as he hauled himself up. Midoriya didn't have a chance to mention it, didn't have time to be scared. Bakugou was already reaching back for his hand. Jump! I'll get you, I promise. Midoriya bent down low, putting all his strength into his knees, and he threw himself up into the air. Bakugou looked oddly surprised, but he grabbed both of Midoriya's wrists with ease, linking the pair of them together tightly. With a big pull and a lot of wriggling, they tumbled down the other side, landing in the grass, and Midoriya sniffed, eyes tearing up. Poop! Don't cry, stupid Deku! They'll hear you if you cry. Midoriya sniffed loudly, wiping his eyes on his sleeve, but then Bakugou was hugging him, dragging him to his feet, and for a moment, everything felt okay again. It didn't matter that he'd landed hard on his bottom or bumped his elbow on the wall. Bakugou's arms made it all better. Kachan? He sniffled. I'm okay. I know you are. I'm here. Midoriya nodded, letting Bakugou take his hand, and together they began to run through the school grounds. Midoriya had no idea where they were going, didn't even know if they were still in the school, but Bakugou looked as confident as ever, and Midoriya trusted him with the world. Is that them? Midoriya asked, pointing to a field in the distance. Yeah, it's gotta be them. With his smile finally returning, Midoriya ran towards the group of people, peeking through the fences to watch. He didn't recognize any of the faces, but they were all working hard on their hero skills, and Midoriya's eyes shone as he watched. Sensei? One of the girls spoke up, raising a hand. Why are there children here? Bakugou ducked quickly, dragging Midoriya with him into the bushes. But it was too little too late. They'd been spotted, and even Bakugou knew that running would get him nowhere. Hi there, a bright voice said, making Midoriya jump. Are you lost? No, Bakugou insisted stubbornly, pulling Midoriya behind his back as he started to cry. We're fine. 2 hands reached for Midoriya, a voice cooing at him, reassuring him. But the moment he saw them, he opened his mouth wide. The screams began the same moment as the explosion, the girl swearing as she clutched her burned wrist, and Bakugou glared at her as Midoriya continued to scream. Don't touch, he demanded, reaching back to fumble for Midoriya's hand. Why do people always try to touch? Wait, Bakugou? Midoriya? He glared deeper, and after a moment she sighed, turning to call out over the screams. It happened again, Sensei. It's the Class A kids. Class A? Bakugou asked, immediately kicking himself. Stupid Deku, we got the wrong class. He began to drag Midoriya off, but immediately an oversized hand was in front of him, blocking his path. He glared at the girl behind him, at her overly friendly smile and orange ponytail, the arm that stretched and expanded to stop him in his tracks. Who's meant to be looking after you, Midoriya? We don't need a damn babysitter. I was asking Midoriya, she asked softly. I won't touch, I promise. Are you meant to be with your classmates? Did you get lost? Bakugou's jaw dropped, seeing the momentary opening, and Midoriya nodded faintly, sniffling again. Maybe he wasn't so stupid after all. I'll take you to the dorms, okay? They'll be on their way back by now. Did you get split up on the way? Yeah, Bakugou mumbled, looking away and hoping he would seem meek. But I can find it. I don't need your help. I know you don't, but I have to go there anyway, so why don't we walk together? Fine, I guess. Come on, Deku. Do you want me to piggyback you? No, I can walk, he insisted, rubbing at his face with his sleeves. I'm going to be a hero too. I don't need to be carried. Sure you are, dumb Deku, Bakugou snorted. Just stay on this side of me. I won't let her touch. I won't touch, the girl assured them. It's okay. She waved goodbye to her classmates and led the way down a gravel path, walking slowly to make sure the kids could keep up. The trip took a little longer than usual for it, but soon they were at the front doors of the Class A dorms, knocking politely as she pushed the doors open. Hello? Did someone lose a couple of kids? She waved the boys inside, and Bakugou was struck by recognition, bits of memory popping back as he looked around. Uraraka and Yaoyorozu appeared in a heartbeat, grinning, and Uraraka nodded frantically. Yes, thank you, we've been so worried, she declared, and even Bakugou was a little impressed by the lies. They got distracted watching our class, she explained. All yours now. Thank you so much, Kendo. We really owe you one. No problem at all. Take care of them. The moment she left, Bakugou rounded on Midoriya, shoving him in the shoulder lightly. What happened to no screaming? I know, he whined. I'm sorry, Ka-chan. I didn't know her and I just got scared. Stupid Deku. Like I would let anybody touch you. Thanks, Ka-chan. Uraraka giggled as she watched them, and soon Bakugou was glaring up at her, waiting for whatever dumbass comment was about to come out of her mouth. You escaped, huh? She asked instead, making Bakugou pout. How did you do it? They said they were guarding the office so we couldn't sneak in. Out the window, duh, Bakugou grumbled. It was boring in there. Clever boy. Well, come on in. Do you remember any of us? Not really. Okay, well, I'm Uraraka, and this is Yaoyorozu. I make things float, and she creates objects from her body. She made your clothes, in fact. Last time and this time. Thank you, Midoriya whispered, peeking up from under long eyelashes. They're all my colours. You're welcome, Midoriya. I thought you might like that. How old are you now? I'm 6 years old, and so is Ka-chan. Ah, older than last time. That makes sense. You're much bigger than before. He still clutched at Bakugou's hand as he spoke, as if he could borrow some of his stubborn confidence by holding on tight enough. But Bakugou didn't seem to mind. In fact, he held on just as tightly, always matching Midoriya's grip. Are you boys hungry? The rest of us have been eating a late lunch. We finished class early today. I'm sure there are some leftovers if you want something. Midoriya's stomach growled, and Uraraka laughed again, nodding as she waved them to follow. There were more people gathered in the kitchen, and the moment they spotted the kids, the entire room went insane, yelling and squealing and cheering in their excitement. Midoriya's hand began to tremble, and Bakugou pulled him back behind his back, taking a long, deep breath. "Be quiet!" he yelled, glaring as hush immediately fell over the room. "Can't you see you're scaring Deku?" Jaws dropped, and words remained deep in the lungs that formed them, no one daring to speak. Bakugou finally turned his back on them, taking both of Midoriya's hands and pressing their foreheads together lightly. "Breathe, Deku. You okay?" Midoriya's breath shuddered, but he nodded all the same, and despite the prying eyes, Bakugou wrapped his arms around the thin frame. He squeezed Midoriya tight, listening to his breathing, waiting for it to slow before he loosened his grip. "It's okay, dummy. You have me." He heard a few little noises behind him, turned to glare at them, but no one breathed a word as Bakugou slowly conceded his grip. He looked over the crowd, humming to himself as he contemplated. "Are any of you friends with Deku?" he said finally. "Be honest." Every hand in the room slowly rose to point at the ceiling, and Bakugou's eyes widened. He glanced back at Midoriya, who looked strangely delighted, his eyes drying when he wiped away the tears. "Really?" he asked quietly. "You guys are my friends?" "Yeah, Midoriya," Kirishima grinned. "We all love you, bro. You're the best." Midoriya's eyes shone, his lips stretching into a grin, and Bakugou couldn't help but smile fondly at him. "You want to stop holding me then?" "Do I have to?" "No." Midoriya shook his head, keeping his fingers firmly intertwined in Bakugou's, but he took a step forward and looked a little closer at the group of his classmates. Every single one of them smiled down at him, and despite his nerves, or maybe because of his nerves, he began to giggle. "What's so funny, dumb nerd?" Bakugou asked fondly. "Nothing. I'm just happy." "Idiot." He finally let go of Bakugou's hand when another classmate set plates on the table for them, saying the most polite thank you any of them had ever heard, and looking at Bakugou pointedly. Yeah, cut it out. Thank you, okay?" "You're welcome, both of you." Bakugou shoveled food into his mouth like his life depended on it, not worrying about the scraps that fell out or went over the table, while Midoriya took much neater, smaller bites, exclaiming how delicious it was at every opportunity. The girls were already fawning again, watching his little legs swing back and forth, his messy curls bobbing as he chewed, and Midoriya looked up nervously when he noticed them staring. "Did I do something?" he asked, wiping his mouth quickly. "I'm sorry." "Stop apologizing, stupid Deku. You didn't do anything wrong." "Sorry, Midoriya. I didn't mean to stare," Yaoyorozu assured him. "You're just very sweet, much smaller and cuter than we're used to." "You think I'm cute?" "Of course we do." Thank you." Bakugou smirked, reaching out to ruffle Midoriya's hair, getting a whine in return. "You think I would marry someone who isn't cute, idiot?" "Oh," Ashido gasped, clapping her hands together excitedly. "The engagement is still intact?" "What are you talking about, Pinky? Of course it is." Midoriya yelped when a door slammed in the distance, looking up to see Aizawa storm into the room, glaring at the two boys with their food. He folded his arms, waited pointedly for someone to speak, or apologize, or at least explain, but nothing came. "I told you to stay in the office," he said finally. "What do you think you're doing?" "Deku was hungry," Bakugou informed him through a mouth stuffed with rice. "Had to come find food." "Would you like to tell me how you escaped?" "Not really." "Midoriya?" Midoriya froze, eyes wide with fear, and Aizawa sighed when he saw it, shaking his head. "You know what? I give up. You lot take care of them. Good luck. Just please don't let them die." Bakugou smirked as Aizawa walked out again, though Midoriya still felt a little guilty, and soon they were pushing their plates away, letting out contented sighs. Midoriya rubbed at his eyes, fighting back a yawn, but Uraraka noticed and took pity on the boy. "Why don't I show you guys where your rooms are?" she suggested. "Yes, please," Midoriya nodded. "Come with me, Kachan?" "Yeah, okay. I'd better take care of you." Uraraka showed them to the elevator, taking them right up to Midoriya's floor, grateful that he never seemed to lock his room. The boys marveled at the massive collection of merch, eyes sparkling as they looked around, and Uraraka couldn't help but giggle at them. "I'll make sure someone checks in every hour, okay? Just let us know if you need anything." "Thank you, Uraraka-san," Midoriya said politely, bowing a little. "It's very kind of you." "My pleasure, sweetie. Get some rest, okay?" "Okay." The moment the door closed, she heard them crack, darting back and forth to explore all the toys and posters. She smiled at herself fondly as she headed back downstairs. By the time she reached the ground floor, Midoriya and Bakugou had already forgotten about the rest of the class, marvelling instead at the collection of pristine All Might action figures, picking their teams and setting them up to have a grand battle royale on the bed covers. The fight lasted all of 10 minutes, though, before Midoriya was lagging again, taking the pillow from the end of the bed and hugging it tight in his arms. Bakugou saw the signs, well aware of how Midoriya looked around nap time, and soon he was lining up the figures carefully on the edge of the desk, untucking the blankets from the bed to pull them over Midoriya's lap. By the time Kaminari ventured up for the first check-in, the boys were out cold. There were pillows and blankets and a dozen All Might plushies surrounding them, woven into a little nest, and right in the middle lay two young friends. Midoriya's head rested on Bakugou's chest, smiling a little as he slumbered, and still, atop of the blankets, their fingers remained linked. Kaminari took a photo. As Kirishima got off the elevator, he heard rustling in the nearby bedroom. He paused, frowning slightly as he stared at the door, then cracked it open tentatively to peek. "How did you two end up in here?" he asked, smiling fondly when he saw the boys rummaging through drawers and boxes. "I thought you were in Midoriya's room still." "Oh, stupid hair, you're friends with me or something, right?" Bakugou asked, looking up from his box. "The others said, last time." "Yeah." Midoriya pouted, folding his arms stubbornly, and Kirishima grinned sheepishly at him. "Is something wrong, Bakugou?" "Yeah. You call me by my last name?" he grimaced. "Are you sure we're friends?" "We've had this conversation before," Kirishima laughed. "You ask for a different name at every age, you know. What would you like me to call you?" "Katsuki, obviously." "Okay, Katsuki. What can I do to help?" Midoriya grumbled something to himself, dropping onto the bed with his pathetic little frown, but Kirishima just smiled at him again. "Where do we keep our rings?" "Huh?" "Our rings?" Bakugou repeated, as if Kirishima was an idiot for not understanding. "We take them off for training, right? Where do they go?" I'm not sure, Katsuki. I'm sorry," Kirishima stuttered. "I don't think I've ever seen you wear one." "Of course he wears one," Midoriya grumbled. "We're big now." I'm sorry. I guess I could ask the others, but I don't know." "Forget it," Bakugou sighed. "We either hide them real good, or our big selves are going to think we're real stupid." "Why does Deku hate you?" "Huh? He doesn't. Midoriya and I are good friends." "Deku doesn't like you," Bakugou repeated, waving towards Midoriya on the bed. "I don't know about Big Deku, but this one doesn't, and he doesn't remember why." Then why are you mad at me if you don't know why?" "Because I remember that you're mean," Midoriya insisted, looking away with his little pout. "I don't like mean people." Mean? Me? When was I? Kirishima's voice cracked as he realized, eyes widening. "Oh, no. Oh my gosh, no. Midoriya, when you were a toddler, you thought I was trying to steal Katsuki from you. I never was, though." "You were," Midoriya insisted. "I remember now." Kirishima sighed, folding his arms as he contemplated. "I promise, Midoriya, I'm not trying to date Katsuki. Never ever. And even if I did want to, I know you guys are going to get married, okay? I wouldn't be that rude." "Okay, Deku?" Bakugou asked, climbing onto the bed with him. "Here, you can wear this until I find your real one." In his fingertips, he held a piece of shiny red ribbon, left over from some gift or other. Already reaching for Midoriya's hand, he eyeballed the length and tore a piece off, winding it loosely around Midoriya's finger and tying it in a bow. Kirishima stifled his giggles, slipping his phone from his pocket to snap a photo. Midoriya's little pout turning into the widest smile, beaming up at Bakugou as if it was the most fantastic present in the world. "You too, Kashan?" "Uh-huh. You can tie it." "Yeah, just like my shoes." He wound the leftover ribbon twice around Bakugou's finger, tongue poking out of the corner of his mouth as he concentrated, tying it off and giving Bakugou a triumphant look. "Matching," he declared, holding out his hands. "All better now, nerd?" "Yep." They grinned at each other, and Kirishima took another photo quickly, freezing a single frame of their childhood innocence. Bakugou looked up after a moment, eyeing Kirishima, and wove his fingers through Midoriya's. "Are there snacks, Sharky? I want snacks." I could probably find you something in the kitchen. You guys want to come back down now?" Bakugou glanced at Midoriya, who conceded a nod, despite the way he pouted again at the suggestion. With a little smile that was slightly less nerve-inducing than the older Bakugo's, he helped Midoriya up off the bed, leading him down the hall after Kirishima. Downstairs, they found a group of classmates giggling over the photo Kirishima had already sent to them. Midoriya's fingers squeezed a little tighter when he saw the big cluster of people, but Bakugo marched on confidently. Whether he was genuinely that self-confident, or whether he just learnt how to act the part at a young age, Kirishima couldn't be sure. But either way, it seemed to do the job for Midoriya, who looked at him like he was the one who made the earth turn. "You eat these ones a lot?" Kirishima began, pulling a bag from the cupboard and handing it to Midoriya. Katsuki, everything you eat is super spicy. Do you still like spicy food?" "Yeah." "Okay, well, just be careful, okay? I don't know if your tastes have changed between this age and what I'm used to." He handed over what looked like the least deadly of Katsuki's collection, with only a few exclamation points as warnings, instead of skulls and disclaimers that the company were not to be held responsible for burn injuries. Kirishima was pretty sure Bakugo had to sign a liability waiver just to buy some of them. When they headed back to the common room, Midoriya's face lit up. They'd only seen that expression when he was looking at his Kachan up until that point, so the sight of it alone made a few of the girls coo. In the middle of the room sat a perfect little blanket fort, filled with cushions and pillows, Uraraka and Asabi proudly showing it off to the boys. Midoriya glanced at Bakugo for permission, getting a little nod in return. With a gleeful little giggle, he dove into the pile. Bakugo followed him in, crawling through the blanket flaps into a dimly, cozy lit fort, and smiled when an eye peeked through the door. "You need the password," he insisted. "What's the password?" "Is it All Might?" Uraraka suggested, watching Bakugo's face harden. "Knew it." "How did you build this?" Midoriya asked shyly, crawling forward a little. "It's very nice." "See, you and I built it just for you guys. We thought maybe you'd like to play in it for a while before dinner." "For us?" Midoriya gaped. "Really?" "Uh-huh." Are we, friends?" Bakugo finished for him, frowning a little. "He wants to know if you guys are friends with Big Deku." "Oh yeah, we're all friends with you. You're a very sweet guy." "Really?" "Yeah, there's no one in class you wouldn't call your friend. Even in the other classes, a lot of them like you." Midoriya's eyes shone, fascinated by the revelation, and Bakugo scowled as he grabbed Midoriya's hand stubbornly. "You have me, stupid Deku. Even if you didn't have friends, it wouldn't matter." "I know, Kachan. You're all I need, but I like having friends as well." "Fine, you can have friends, but don't go around forgetting who comes first in your life." "Number one hero, number one husband," Midoriya giggled. "I could never forget Kachan." "Damn right." He pounced on Bakugo, pinning him to the cushions as he giggled, and despite a few stubborn complaints, Bakugo never pushed him off. Uraraka watched through the door, smiling fondly, and soon there was a camera peeking from the side, sneaking more cute photos of the pair. It wasn't until Midoriya caught wind of a familiar word that he sat up, eyes wide, as he crawled out to investigate. With the sudden boldness of 1,000 men, Midoriya ran over to where Koda stood, bouncing up and down excitedly as he made incomprehensible noises. Bakugo followed with a little frown to investigate, sighing when he saw his excited fiancé, cooing over a dumb little rabbit. "He likes bunnies," Bakugo explained, when Midoriya didn't manage to make genuine words. "Is it a friendly bunny?" Koda nodded, bending down a little to let Midoriya see, nodding again when Midoriya held up one hand to give him a questioning look. With the gentlest touch in the world, Midoriya caressed the bunny's fur, giggling again excitedly. Can I, please can I hold him? Her? It? Koda nodded again, leading him over to the couch, and Midoriya sat down. He held his arms out, still beaming in his giddy excitement, and when Koda set the bunny on his lap, he had to clamp his lips shut to keep from squealing and scaring it. "He's okay with animals," Bakugo mumbled, kicking the floor lightly as he watched. "You don't need to worry. Animals always like him, especially bunnies." "Do you want to pet it too, Bakugo?" Asabi asked gently. "No." Bakugo shook his head, pouting before he dropped his voice. "They don't like me." Koda gave him a reassuring look, gently taking his hand and leading him over to the couch where Midoriya sat. He laid the hand on the bunny's fuzzy back, and Midoriya grinned as Bakugo awkwardly ran his hand down its spine. After a few strokes, Koda took his hand away, leaving him with no guide, and Bakugo stared at the happy little bunny as it accepted his attention without running or panicking, without twitching nervously away from his explosive hands. "He likes you, Kachan," Midoriya giggled, as the bunny nuzzled Bakugo's hand lightly. You made a friend! It's soft. Yeah, isn't he cute? Bakugo climbed onto the cushions beside Midoriya, leaning into his side as he gently stroked the bunny again, letting it sniff his hand. A little tongue darted out to lick him, and unlike anything they'd ever heard before, Bakugo giggled. It likes your sweat, Kachan, Midoriya laughed when the bunny continued to lick his palms. I told you, it smells sweet. It tickles, Bakugo whined, not making any effort to take his hands away regardless. Cut it out. Midoriya leaned over to give the bunny a kiss, pouting a little when it stood up off of his lap, but when it nestled in between the two boys, he smiled again. They turned to face each other, the bunny happily between their legs, and Koda smiled at the others as they fawned over the pair. He's such a good bunny, Midoriya exclaimed. You're so pretty and sweet. Kachan, can I have a bunny when we're big? You can have as many bunnies as you want. I'll get you 50 bunnies if that's what you want. Just 2 is okay. Then they can keep each other company. Koda bent down again, crouching beside the boys so he could hear his quiet voice. He's hungry. Would you like to feed him? Can we? Midoriya exclaimed, eyes sparkling. Please? Koda nodded, scooping the bunny up gently, and when Bakugo stood, he put the bunny safely in his arms. Bakugo's eyes were wide, but he hugged the bunny to his chest carefully, stunned when it sat quietly and didn't try to escape his grasp. In the kitchen, Koda pulled down a little bag of pellets from the cupboard, pouring a few into a bowl, and Bakugo set him down to eat. They lay on the floor and watched the little teeth gnaw on the food. Midoriya giggled over the noises he made as he chomped, and soon Koda handed them some chopped up celery and lettuce. The bunny went to them as soon as he spotted the vegetables, bouncing excitedly, and Bakugo cracked a smile. He bounces when he's happy, like you do. Does that make me a bunny? Maybe, Bakugo laughed, offering the bunny a piece of celery. You want some? He stifled a giggle as the bunny ate it from his hand, nudging at him for more, and Bakugo obeyed. The boys took turn offering it vegetables, laughing at the way it hopped so excitedly back and forth between them to get the offerings. Bakugo poked one of the celery sticks at Midoriya's lips, sneering when he pulled a face. I thought you were a bunny too, Deku. Don't you want the vegetables? Vegetables are icky, Kachan. You won't grow up strong if you don't eat vegetables. He handed the celery to the real bunny instead, showing it his empty hands when it searched for more. All gone, Mr. Bunny. I have no more. The bunny turned to inspect Midoriya's hands instead, getting a giggle and a little shake of his head. Sorry, bunny. All gone. The bunny chittered at them, and Koda laughed quietly to himself. You can play, he told the boy softly. He won't be sleepy for a while. Really? Midoriya grinned. Thank you. He scooped the bunny up carefully, like he'd seen Koda do, and happily trotted back to the blanket fort with him, Bakugo in tow. Koda smiled at their backs, at how kind and gentle they were with his pet. He settled in with his classmates to watch a movie. Bakugo woke up to a quiet voice in the doorway, rubbing his eyes as he untangled himself from Midoriya and their pile of blankets. There was a girl smiling at him, her dark hair up in a spiky ponytail, but he couldn't recall her name. It's almost time for school, she whispered. Midoriya still sound asleep in Bakugo's lap. The teachers say you two can stay here while we go. Excuse me? Bakugo demanded. I am plenty old enough to go to school. That's what I thought you'd say, she laughed, opening the door a little wider to show him a handful of coat hangers. I made you some uniforms? You did? Just for us? Yeah, can't go to school without one after all. Oh, thank you. No problem. I'll let you wake Midoriya. Make sure you brush your teeth and get dressed. There's breakfast in the kitchen for you, and someone will show you where the classroom is. Okay, he nodded, reaching down to stroke Midoriya's hair where it rested on his legs. Hey Deku, it's time to get up. Wake up, sleepyhead. Midoriya began to stir, and with a last smile, Yaoyorozu took her leave, letting the pair get themselves organised. It took them a little while to sort themselves out, but soon they were in the quiet kitchen, reaching for 2 plates covered in foil, their names written on the front in bold marker. It smells so good, Midoriya mumbled, as he sat down at the table and peeled the cover off. Look, Kachan. He leaned over, snorting when he saw the eggs, fish, and rice arranged into a smiley face on the plate, and braced himself as he reached for his own. Well prepared to sneer at it, Bakugo's voice caught in his throat, and after a moment he let out a short laugh. I think you have a reputation? Yeah, Midoriya grinned. A reputation. What, you think I'm an angry jerk? Bakugo queried, poking at angry egg eyebrows with his chopsticks. Not a jerk, but you yell a lot. Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't need yelling at then. I don't mind if you yell at me, Midoriya mumbled, as long as you're still my friend. I'll always be your friend, dummy, even if I'm mad at you. He picked up his plate, carefully turning the grumpy face to look at Midoriya, and ducking to hide his face behind it. Grrr, he growled, smiling behind the plate. Does it look like me, Deku? Exactly the same, Midoriya giggled. It's perfect, Ka-chan. As they finished clearing their plates, Kirishima arrived to check on them, grinning when he found them both smiling. It was almost sad, in a way, to see them so carefree and innocent, compared to what he'd grown accustomed to in their normal lives. Those innocent kids had so much hardship to come, though he supposed technically they'd already lived it and just didn't remember. Morning, he offered when Midoriya looked up. You guys almost ready for class? Uh-huh. Just gotta brush our teeth, Bakugo clarified. 2 more minutes. I'll wait for you at the door. We can walk over together. I can find it. I know you can, Katsuki, Kirishima humoured him. I just thought it would be nice to walk together. Fine. Sure enough, in 2 minutes the boys were back, tying their shoes at the door to follow Kirishima out into the grounds. The sun was already high in the sky, beating down on them with warmth, and Bakugo took Midoriya's hand as they hurried after Kirishima's long legs. I'll remember where to go, he promised quietly. I won't let you get lost. Thanks, Ka-chan. Kirishima smiled back at them, pointing towards a familiar-looking building as they approached. This is where our classroom is, he declared. Do you remember it? Yeah, Bakugo nodded. It has really big doors inside. Yeah, some of the students here are pretty big, so they've got to make it accessible. Ka-chan let me sit on his desk, Midoriya mumbled, getting a surprised look from Bakugo. I took notes and drew pictures. That's right, I never saw your notes, but we all saw you sit with him and you both smiled a lot. He was really good at taking care of you. Of course I was, Bakugo scoffed, puffing his chest out proudly. That's what husbands do. You're the best husband, Ka-chan. Damn right I am. He squeezed a little tighter at Midoriya's hand, getting a big smile in return. And soon they were at the classroom door, holding their breath as Kirishima pulled it open for them to pass through. The classroom was somewhat familiar to them both, and also oddly disappointing. Just an ordinary classroom like any other they'd ever been in. These are your desks, Kirishima reminded them, pointing at the windows. Do you need any help with anything? No, we're fine, Bakugo answered stubbornly. It's not like we've never been to school before, stupid hair. Okay, just let me know if you need any help. Maybe trying to reach a high shelf or something. Bakugo glared at him for the laughter that echoed through the room, dragging Midoriya to their desks and dumping his bag with a pout. He hurled out an assortment of books that had thankfully still been in his bag when it was returned to him after the fight, and Midoriya copied his every move, setting his pal into the corner and hunting down a pencil. Yaoyorozu presented them with big cushions to sit on, boosting them up to reach the top easier. And soon they were settled in comfortably, ready to get to work. Aizawa sighed when he arrived, immediately zeroing in on the 2 determined faces, and reached under his desk for 2 brightly coloured workbooks he procured in advance, knowing there was no way they would actually stay out of things. Here, he said flatly, dumping one on each desk and making Midoriya jump. This is your work for today. We don't need baby work, Bakugo insisted. We can do the real thing. The rest of us did it yesterday, Kaminari said brightly, glancing across the row to see the kiddie cartoons on the cover. You guys ran off to fight that villain, so you missed it. Bakugo pouted, flipping through the pages. Fine. Which bit are we doing? The first 3 chapters, Aizawa answered, without missing a beat. If you finish those before lunch, I'll start you on today's work. Otherwise, it'll be your weekend homework to catch up. Fine, Bakugo sighed. I guess it can't be helped. A few of their classmates quickly concealed their giggles, and Midoriya looked over curiously to see what on earth they were doing. Uraraka smiled brightly at him, somehow reassuring, and he smiled back shyly in return. Gimme that, Bakugo demanded, turning around and grabbing Midoriya's textbooks, dumping them next to his own. Tell me if you get stuck. We'll get it done real fast. What are they really? Yaoyorozu whispered when Aizawa passed her desk. A child's introduction to hero studies. It'll keep them occupied. I'm impressed, Sensei. I figured I should start keeping them around, the way this class seems to go. I'll be sure to take extra notes, Ida assured him. I'll make sure they both have a copy later. Thank you, Ida. What were you two writing? Kaminari asked, a teasing smile already on his face. I saw you passing notes during class. Naughty, naughty. Midoriya flooded bright red as Bakugou put a stubborn scowl on his face, shoving a foot on his backpack to make sure no one could take it. Ooh, they must have been good, he exclaimed, leaning in close. Were you drawing rude pictures of Aizawa? I want to see. I would never, Midoriya insisted. That's so mean. Right you are, Midoriya, Ida nodded firmly, setting down his tray of food beside them. You are working very hard in class. I'm proud of you both. Thank you, Midoriya smiled shyly. We almost got caught up. 3 whole chapters, Uraraka asked, giggling a little. That's so good. Well done. Kachan is super smart, he explained, with all the sincerity in the world. He helped me lots. What a good boy, Kaminari grinned, ruffling Bakugou's messy hair. Good, Kachan. Stop it, Bakugou scowled, shoving him off. Next time, I'll explode it. Duly noted. As they scoffed their food down with vigour, rice sticking to Midoriya's cheeks messily, their classmates' thoughts turned to the practical trainings to come. It was no question to any of them that Bakugou would demand to join in like last time, Midoriya dragged along by default. Yaoyorozu had already produced them 2 tiny hero costumes again, ready in advance this time, and the class had seemed to be split between excitement and exasperation at the prospect. The bell rang, and Midoriya looked up with wide eyes, taking a moment to understand the meaning of it as everyone stood up, stacking their dishes. Bakugou grabbed a napkin, roughly wiping Midoriya's face clean as he whined quietly, grumbling to himself at the mess his nerd had produced. Learn to eat like a real person, he demanded, as he tossed the napkin into Midoriya's dirty dishes. Messy wife. Uraraka collected their trays along with her own, getting a big smile from Midoriya and a reluctant nod from Bakugou as soon as they were filing out to the corridors. Come this way, I'll show you the way, Uraraka offered, waving them to follow. I know where it is, stupid round face, Bakugou scowled. I don't need help. He produced a napkin from his pocket, a little map scrawled onto it with pen from his backpack, and it was all she could do to keep from laughing at him. That's great, Katsuki, she nodded, but the rest of us are going too, so you might as well just come with us. Fine, he grumbled, looking away as he stuffed the map into his pocket. Whatever. You're amazing, Kachan, Midoriya whispered. I would have gotten lost. I know, that's why I gotta learn for us both. You're the best. Yeah, I know. Midoriya said an adorably sweet thank you as Yaoyorozu handed them their costumes, even Bakugou conceding a quick thanks when he saw the design, quietly gleeful as he examined it. Kirishima and Kaminari exchanged a grin over his head, ushering the boys into the changing room, and soon Bakugou was dressing himself in the dark material, rushing to the mirror to see as he tied his mask in place. His smile was much more familiar when he turned each way, examining every detail of the costume, almost menacing if not for his tiny stature. His flared mask stood out straight from his spiky hair, and Midoriya smiled when he looked up, immediately reaching out to touch it. You look so cool, Kachan, he praised, leaning over to see the front. It's perfect for you. So is yours, he smirked, tugging the bunny-like hood over the emerald eyes. Bunny Deku. I look okay? Yeah, you look like you. I need a cape, though. What do you think? Like All Might's? You would look so great with a cape, Midoriya agreed. Why don't you have a cape? Dunno. He turned around, locking eyes with Kirishima across the room. Hey, why don't I have a cape? Well, capes aren't really in fashion, he suggested, humming to himself thoughtfully. You wanted to look cool, and capes aren't really considered cool anymore. Capes are always fashionable, stupid hair. All Might has a cape. I think Kachan deserves a cape too, Midoriya nodded firmly. You don't earn a cape, stupid Deku. My mum could make one in like 10 minutes. We're both getting capes. Okay. Katsuki fell in line as people began to file out to their training ground of the day, a series of huge buildings lining each street, some more beaten up than others. This is where you two fought for the first time, Ida informed him. It was pretty messy. Us? Midoriya asked pitifully, giving Bakugou his best puppy dog eyes. We fought? Stupid, I would never hurt you. You know that. Bakugou looked away as he said it, and Midoriya felt a pang in his chest of important conversations he couldn't quite remember. He knew he'd been there before, but no matter how hard he racked his brain, it just wouldn't come to him. Do you think she'd make them for us? He looked up to see Bakugo watching Yaoyorozu across the group, contemplative. She seems like a good person, Midoriya mumbled. Maybe if we ask nicely? I don't do nicely. I'll ask for you. What? Really? Midoriya nodded firmly, untangling his fingers from Bakugo's shirt, and somehow it felt weird for Bakugo to feel them go. He'd gotten so used to the kid pulling at him, following him, holding on to him. It made him feel oddly cold. I want you to have one, Midoriya explained. You should have one. And she said I was her friend, so I'll ask her real nice. Wait for me, okay? Don't leave while I'm gone. I wouldn't. He watched as Midoriya danced between people, expertly avoiding feet and limbs, and soon he was looking up at the girl awkwardly, wringing his hands as he peeked through his messy hair. Excuse me, he mumbled. Yaoyorozu-san, right? Oh, hi Midoriya. Is everything okay? He nodded firmly, taking a moment to find his words again. Despite his nerves, he took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders and standing up a little straighter, his cheeks puffed out with one breath as he held himself steady. You've made lots of stuff for us now. It's really amazing, and I really like your quirk. It's super impressive, and I'm sure Big Deku studies it a lot, but I don't really know how it works right now, so you can say no, okay? He paused again, Yaoyorozu a little confused, but patient as ever. Would you possibly, make me one more thing? Even if you can't make one for me, that's okay, but I'd really like it if you could please make one for Kachan, because he deserves one, and he should have one, and he says he wants one for me too, but I haven't really earned it yet, even though they're cool, but, sorry, could you maybe make Kachan a cape to wear with his costume, like how All Might has one? Yaoyorozu smiled fondly, kneeling down beside him and nodded. I can make you both capes. Do you want a super big flowy one, or one that won't get in the way as much? Big, but not so big we'll step on it? Okay, what colour? Black. Just black? What would look cool with Kachan's costume? He folded his arms, pulling a familiar face as he analysed it. He'll just say black is boring, won't he? Maybe an orange stripe at the bottom to match his shirt and boots? Sure, I can do that. Would you like a green stripe on yours too? Can I? Of course you can. Really? Midoriya's eyes shone, and Yaoyorozu nodded again, still smiling down at him. She pulled part of her costume aside to show a little of her stomach, and Midoriya watched in awe as fabric began to spill out from her skin. It was dark at first, slightly shiny, ending with a stripe in a familiar shade of green that made him grin from ear to ear. She threw it around him, sticking it to his shoulders with some kind of adhesive, and he immediately grabbed the sides of it to flap around himself. It's so cool, he beamed. Thank you. Give me one moment. I'll make one for your Kachan too. Thank you. He bounced lightly as he waited, his heels never touching the ground, shuffling from foot to foot, up and down, bending and stretching. He was just a ball of excited energy, and it took every ounce of self-control Yaoyorozu possessed not to giggle at him as she worked. Here we go, she said after a minute, laying it carefully across Midori's arms. Just put it around him and stick it on, like yours. It should stay on so long as you don't try super hard to pull it off. Thank you so much. He hugged the material to his chest lightly, then glanced up, pausing for a moment before he nervously wrapped his arms around Yaoyorozu's waist. You're the best, and I love you, and thank you for being my friend. He ran off with the cape before she could answer him, instead stuck staring after him with her mouth open a little. None of them would even believe her if she told them he hugged her. Kachan! 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 He bounced in circles around the boy, his cape whirling. Look! 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 I got you one too! Look at it, Kachan! It's great, Bakugo grinned, grabbing a handful of hair to slow him down. Is mine cool too? Yeah, look, it matches! He waved the orange hem at Bakugo, getting a nod of approval before he ran to Bakugo's back to stick it onto him. Sure enough, it stuck firm with little effort, and Midoriya giggled when Bakugo turned around, the fabric flipping out behind him as he put his hands on his hips, posing triumphantly. You look amazing, Kachan, he fawned, clapping excitedly. Can we take a photo later for when we're big again? Yeah, Big Katsuki's phone was in his school bag. We can take photos. Big Izuku's was in his dorm room. Can we take some for him? Me? Too, right? Yeah, Obviously. You're the best, Kachan. It happened in an instant. 1 minute, Midoriya was running across the room with his cape flying, taking his turn to pose for photos. The next? He tripped over his own feet, hitting the ground, and in the brief moment it took to turn around and look, his body ran hot. So hot, boiling hot. You're big, Bakugou said dumbly, staring down at Midoriya in his tattered remains of clothing. You got big again. That's not fair. Kachan, he grinned, sitting up and rubbing at his temple. You're little. You were too, he pouted. You were playing an... Oh, here. He handed over Midoriya's phone, confusing him for a moment, but when he saw the screen, a bright laugh came out of him, almost forcefully with how quickly it came. I love it. Thank you, he grinned, hugging the phone to his chest. Thanks for taking care of me, Kachan. I wrote you something, he mumbled, his cheeks flushing pink. You wrote me something too, so tell me when I change, okay? I will. Where are they? By in the dorms. By the beds. You can't miss them. Thanks, Kachan. He held out his arms, and despite only being covered by shreds of clothing, Bakugou hugged him tight. He leaned his cheek on Midoriya's chest, classmates watching them in silence, and closed his eyes before he spoke again. I'm sorry I'm a jerk, he whispered. I'm gonna be better, okay? You're not, Midoriya smiled, kissing his hair lightly. You're not a jerk, and you won't change. You don't need to. I still love you, okay? Always. I guess I do too, he grumbled. Don't make me say embarrassing things, dumb Deku. Oh, is it over? Midoriya looked back to see Todoroki staring, grinning back at him. Pretty much, he nodded. Sorry, were we a pain? I don't know. I avoided you. Couldn't deal with all of that again. Fair, Midoriya laughed sheepishly. Sorry to hear I was bad that first time. You're fine. He's just a wimp, Bakugou grumbled. You just gotta learn how to take care of you, that's all. Then it's easy. Easy for you, Midoriya laughed. Most people aren't, Kachan. He leaned over to see Todoroki behind them, catching a little cringe when the young man realized it wasn't entirely over. He put his best scowl on his face. Your quirk is okay, I guess, he offered graciously. I'll let you be friends with Deku, but only if you don't touch him without asking. I wouldn't. It's true, he hasn't, Midoriya assured him, petting his soft blonde hair. It's okay, Kachan. I promise they're all really good to me. But I'm still your favorite. Of course. Bakugou looked down at his hand, a bright red ribbon still tied around his finger, then to the matching one lying among the shreds of clothing. Where do you keep your ring? What? We couldn't find them, he explained. We looked everywhere. Midoriya finally caught up when he looked at the ribbon, his cheeks burning pink, and he gently touched the red bow. You found a substitute, huh? Yeah. I'll make sure they're on full display next time, Midoriya assured him, lifting up the tiny hand to kiss his ribbon. Easily findable, okay? Okay. He looked up at Todoroki again, considering him sternly, then sighed. Okay, I guess you can be my friend too, Bakugou informed him. Since you're nice to Deku and you can fight. Todoroki cracked his first smile, faring better than Midoriya, who couldn't hold back his giggles. You said that last time, Todoroki explained. You wanted to be friends when you got back to normal. Oh, are we then? It hasn't been that long, Todoroki shrugged. It's up to you to make it happen. Sorry I'm a jerk. Really? Bakugou nodded firmly, all eyes turned on him, face strangely sincere. People told me, he explained, that I'm not very nice sometimes. I should be nicer. If you said that to your older self, you would punch yourself. Only I'm allowed to criticize me, he pouted. You're not allowed to say it, but I can. He paused for a moment, then turned to look straight at Midoriya again, locking eyes sternly. Tell me when I get back to normal soon. Tell me I wanted to be nicer to people. Okay, I will. And I won't hurt you, no matter what you say. A few snorts filled the room, but Bakugou just scowled, shaking his head. I wouldn't. Not really. I can't hurt my wife. Husband, Kachan. You gotta be a man to be a husband. Keep working on it. Meanie, Midoriya laughed, ruffling Bakugou's hair when he cracked a smile. I'll tell Yuka-chan. I promise. Thanks. I feel kind of weird. I think it's going to be soon. You need to get dressed, and I will too. We should go upstairs. Yeah, we should. Come on, baby. Don't. Just try and stop me, Midoriya teased. You're too cute. I'm not cute. You are. Midoriya scooped him into his arms, despite the protests it spawned, and together they headed for the elevator. Midoriya's tattered pants were barely hanging on, barely covering his tools, and Bakugou carefully kept his eyes averted as they walked. Come and see me, okay? Bakugou requested when Midoriya walked him to his door. I'm gonna change back soon, and then I'll get dressed and we can go have dinner or something. I'd like that, Midoriya smiled sadly, stroking his hair one more time. Dinner date sounds perfect. I'll see you real soon then. Midoriya headed up to his own bedroom. His smile faded as soon as the elevator doors closed. He'd already forgotten their time together as children, just like that first time he regressed, and it left an achy, empty feeling in his chest. They'd had something special, and he didn't even remember. As he pushed open his door, he was struck by the mess. The nest of pillows, the blankets torn from the mattress to tangle around them in the night, the figures covering every surface from their playtime. Sure enough, there was a folded piece of paper laid neatly on his bedside table, and he hugged the pillow tight as he sat down to read. Every character was carefully inked, painstakingly neat and well-spaced, the complete opposite of how he remembered it being when they were that age for real. Bakugou had never been one to take the time over his work. He'd rather scribble it down and argue, but I can read it, then move on to the next topic. Always needed more information, needed to learn the next thing on the list. He wondered why this letter was different. Dear Deku, by now you must be big again. If you're not, put it away, poop head. I said don't touch. And I probably am too. I don't know much about what things are like now. I only remember little bits of what you said when this happened before. I know I'm not very nice though. People said I'm angry a lot and I yell at people. I'm sorry I yell at you, Deku. Please don't be sad. Make sure you remind me that good husbands don't yell at their wives. I don't know how much I say it anymore, but I know you like to hear it. So every time you look at your ring, remember it, okay? Pretend I'm saying it whenever you look. I love you, Deku. Be a good wife. Love from your Yuka-chan. Midoriya looked up in a hurry when his door opened, scrubbing away tears with his fist, surprised to see the tender Scarlet looking down at him. You haven't gotten dressed, he pointed out, crossing to Midoriya's closet. Did I turn back first? No, I just got distracted, Midoriya sniffled, wiping his face again. Sorry. Did I write you one too? He asked, plucking the piece of paper from Midoriya's hands and replacing it with his softer sweatpants and t-shirt. Let me see. No, Kachan, you shouldn't. He tossed a piece of paper after the clothes, settling in against the pillow nest, and Midoriya was surprised to see his own familiar handwriting glittering the page. It was much less professional than Bakugou's, his lines wobbly and interspaced with little pictures, but the changes of ink colour every line made him smile faintly. Kachan, you must be big now. I hope I got to see. I like it when you were big. You were so cool with your costumes and your huge explosions. I hope you find your ring soon. We couldn't find them, so they must have been hidden real good. I hope it's safe. I don't know why we got changed, but if it's going to happen again, can you leave us a note where to find them? I was sad not to have it, but you gave me a ribbon instead, and that was nice too. You're my hero, Kachan. You've been my hero forever. My friends say sometimes you're mean when you're big, and I know you don't mean it. You're just making me be good and safe. Thank you for looking after me. I had lots of fun being small with you, and when you were big too. I saw the photos, and I remember being super happy. I hope we can have fun again when we're both big again. I love you, Kachan. You're the bestest best hero, like how you're the bestest best husband. Lots and lots of love from Izuku. It was followed with a little line of hearts, carefully inked in black and filled with neon highlighters from their study supplies, alternating green and orange. Midoriya hiccuped, not sure whether to laugh or cry, and then hair was being brushed at his face, head lying on his shoulder. He glanced over nervously to where Bakugou was still reading, but now his cheek was squished into Midoriya's arm. He didn't dare move. Good husbands always yell at their wives, he mumbled, handing it back. When the wives are always getting hurt, at least. Yeah, Midoriya choked out a laugh. I know. I'm never writing that stupid nickname again, so make the most of it. I will. He sat up, shoving clothes at Midoriya again pointedly, and with another little laugh, Midoriya dressed himself. We were gonna talk, last time, Bakugou pointed out. I guess we never did, huh? Your friends dragged you out, he agreed, to celebrate. Yeah, a couple of days ago, right? How long were we out this time? Phone says a day and a bit. Only one night. Shorter this time. More people, I guess. Yeah, I don't know where I put my damn phone. It's probably in the common room. We were down there when I came back. We were taking photos in our new costumes. Bakugou cracked a smile at that, and Midoriya was a little surprised to see it. It's in my wardrobe, he explained. There was a note on it that said, for next time with it. Mine got destroyed, Ezekiel lamented, kicking the shredded clothes now tossed on the floor. You wanted to take yours off before you went back to normal. Show me these photos. He leaned in again, their biceps pressed together lightly as Midoriya opened his gallery to scroll through them. He couldn't help but smile, finding a collection of flowing capes and beaming smiles, even a few selfies together when they clearly worked out how to flip the camera. There were pictures of the pair of them in a little blanket fort that must have been taken by one of his friends, and even a few of them playing with a bunny, with his face lit up like it was the best day of his life. Must be coders, he mumbled, as they scrolled through the last of the pictures. I always did like bunnies. Because you are one, Bakugou snorted. I don't know how we ended up in capes. I'm sure our classmates will let us know. Midoriya opened his mouth, a risky question toying on his tongue, but when the bedroom door slammed open, he yelped and said, Deku-kun, you are both back, thank goodness. Haraka, yes, is everything okay? We're all supposed to change and meet up at Gym Gamma. Surprise training or something? Oh, well, we'll be there soon. She closed the door, her cheeks a little pinker than usual, and Midoriya gave Bakugou an apologetic smile. Later, okay? We'll talk for real this time. Yeah. What happened to the cape? Kirishima teased, elbowing Bakugou in the ribs. Yeah, you were so happy, Gachan. Kaminari grinned. I thought capes were cool now. They are, Bakugou scowled. Fuck off. Dude, you know they're not fashionable. Just look at the people who still wear them. If I say they're cool, they're fucking cool, he answered stubbornly. Oi, shitty Deku, we're getting capes. Again. Huh? Me too? Midoriya asked, flooding red. But I don't deserve... Deserve? Bakugou cut him off, scowling. It's a costume, shithead. We're getting fucking capes, and they're gonna be matching capes, so you can't chicken out on me. Tell me capes are out of fucking fashion when both of the top heroes are wearing them. Fucking losers. Midoriya stared at him, wide-eyed and open-mouthed, lost for words as Bakugou fumed. Can they say one to do or one them? He asked when Bakugou caught him staring. No, shithead, that's tacky. What are you, 5? Midoriya cracked a smile, thinking back on the photos in his phone, and nodded faintly. You're right. Sorry. Where did we get them? Bakugou demanded, shoving Kirishima firmly. Talking to you, asshole. Where? Yaoyorozu made them for you. Oh, fucking easy. Why didn't I think of that? Oi, ponytail! Midoriya followed in a hurry, grabbing at his arm as he stalked over to her, a deep crease in his forehead with the scowl he aimed at her. For a moment, she seemed nervous, but when she saw the gaggle of laughing classmates in their wake, she relaxed a little. You made us capes? He demanded. Yes, Midoriya asked for them very politely. He was too sweet to say no to. I'm sorry, Midoriya cringed. I shouldn't have made you use your quirk for something so silly. Fuck that, Bakugou cut him off. We need them again. Full size this time. I'm sorry? Capes are cool, and we're gonna prove it to these fucking losers. Midoriya flooded red, but Yaoyorozu couldn't help but laugh, nodding faintly. Sure, I guess I could do that. Please, Midoriya asked firmly. He means, please, would you make them again, when you're not too busy? I can do it now. It won't take long. She paused. A tiny smile came over her face. Although, a please would be nice. Fuck you. Please. Maybe this experience was good for you, she smiled properly this time, and pulled part of her costume aside to expose more skin. Coming right up, Dark fabric poured from her body, and Midoriya smiled when he saw the green stripe come out last, scooping it up into his arms with a wobbly smile. Bakugou waited impatiently for his own, immediately sweeping it around his shoulders and sneering as he stood up straighter, puffing his chest out. "How do I look, nerd?" he asked, turning his face to Midoriya quickly, his cape flicking out behind him. "The coolest." "Damn right." He snatched the matching one from Midoriya's hands, jamming it onto his shoulders, and Midoriya stumbled a quick thank you back at Yaoyorozu as he was dragged quickly away. "Ka-chan," he insisted, tugging his arm free. "You could at least say thank you." Bakugou pulled a face before turning around again, folding his arms. "Thanks, Ponytail," he called, every classmate turning to stare. "It's perfect." "I'm glad you like it, Bakugou," she answered, a little flustered all of a sudden. "You're very welcome." A door opened at the other end of the gym, and immediately the group fell silent. All Might's smile wasn't completely convincing, but regardless, he greeted everyone cheerfully. "It's good to see my boys back in action," he exclaimed, clapping Bakugou and Midoriya each on the shoulder. "You were cute and all, but I much prefer my Wonder Duo full-sized." "Whatever," Bakugou grumbled, blushing a little as he shrugged the hand off. "Oh, you kept the capes. I love it. I always thought they were cool, but people disagree lately." "Capes are high fucking fashion," Bakugou grumbled. "Fuck anyone who says they aren't." "I couldn't agree more, though I wouldn't have used the same language." "Is everything okay, All Might?" Midoriya squeaked. "We got called here so suddenly." "Ah, yes, about that. So our friends in the police have been having some trouble with everybody's favourite villain. Aizawa has gone to help them out, and I will join him shortly. But, in the meantime, we thought it would be prudent for you to all work out some effective countermeasures against this man, in the event that he causes trouble again. Think about how his quirk works, and how you can work together to ensure victory against him. Tomorrow you will present your findings to the class for all of us to consider and analyse. You may choose 1 or 2 people to work with." "Presentation?" Ida asked, brightening all of a sudden. "What kind of presentation? For how long? Spoken? Written? Maybe use visual aids?" "However you so choose, you will have around 5 minutes to present your work in whatever manner you please. With that, I shall take my leave. Work hard, young heroes." Midoriya glanced shyly over to where Kirishima was already pouncing on Bakugou, eyes shining, practically begging. Bakugou snorted in return, shoving him off, and Midoriya blushed when ruby eyes darted his way. "Oh, you're going to work with your wife?" Kaminari asked gleefully. "We can't stand in the way of that, Kiri." "Of course. Let's bow out gracefully. Go for it, dude. Have a blast." Bakugou rolled his eyes, but when Uraraka approached Midoriya excitedly, he quickly shoved a hand on Midoriya's head. "Never mind," she grinned. "I see that your husband calls. I understand." "Is this really how it's going to be?" Midoriya cringed. "How long is this going to go on for?" "Oh yeah, you're totally married now. We've seen what happens if anyone tries to come between you two." A collection of classmates nodded along solemnly, and Bakugou grumbled when Midoriya pouted at them. He didn't dare to sneak a glance back at Bakugou, the intimidating glare already in his mind without seeing it on the actual face. But fingers tightened in his hair slightly, pulling him in closer. "Yeah, don't fucking touch," Bakugou growled. "You hear that, half and half?" "Wasn't planning on it," Todoroki shrugged, joining up with Yaoyorozu in a heartbeat. "Want to get started?" "Sure." Slowly, the groups disappeared to work, until Midoriya was standing awkwardly in an empty space, Bakugou's hands warm against his curls. "No one else can touch, huh?" he asked quietly. "Little Deku made me promise to take care of you, right?" He shrugged, taking his hand away and leaving Midoriya strangely cold. "Can't do that if you're off screwing your classmates." "I would never!" "Uh-huh." He finally turned around, surprised to find the tiniest of smiles on Bakugou's waiting face, the corners turned up just slightly more than usual. There was something oddly beautiful about that face. Midoriya grabbed his own wrist to keep from touching. "Do you want to go back to the dorms and discuss ideas?" Midoriya asked quietly. "I don't think we need to do practical, right? We've already done it." "Yeah, let's go discuss stuff." Midoriya paused, meeting his eyes finally, a fountain of unspoken words falling between them. "Now?" "Yeah." The moment they passed through the doors, they understood. Their classmates were distracted by their new project, working together to learn how to fight the man. But beyond those doors, there were lights and sirens blaring, and what sounded like a lot of children crying. "Rain check?" Bakugou asked with a sigh. "Yeah," Midoriya smiled, looking up with shining eyes at his childhood friend. This time, we're gonna fuck him up with no casualties. Wives shouldn't use language like that. Bakugou smiled, softening as he ruffled Midoriya's curls again. It's not so bad if we get hit again. I'm getting used to it. Me too. I feel like I'm, learning a lot. Stupid nerd, Bakugou smiled. Come on, let's go give these capes a test run. Gladly. Hey there guys, gals and non-binary pals. It's Eleanor and I hope you're having a lovely day today. Oh, finally did the part 3 to this. I know it's like a long time coming. I've been working on it for so long and it just like hasn't been right and I just couldn't kind of get it like working for a while. I don't know. But I finally like got through the end. It is like it's just so fun. I have such a good time. There's definitely a bit of trial and error with having 2 kids involved this time and trying to strike a balance where they both sound like kids but they also don't sound the same and they also kind of sound like their adult selves but also more kiddie than that. I don't know. I was just like being way too perfectionist about this and I've like recorded and re-recorded so much of it again and again and again and again. So I'm just trying to record this outro and just have it done so I can't spend more time going back and re-editing it again. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of it. I love these 2 so much and I really wanted to get this part right because it's one of my favourite of this series and I love this series so much. It's so funny and like I just cracking up and then I was like the way when they're little notes at the end I was like crying reading them. Oh my goodness, sorry. You can hear my child in the background because I'm recording this after they've come back from being with the grandparents while I was like doing work. But you can just hear the sound of cars being driven around the living room. Hopefully it's not too bothersome because I just can't bring myself to re-record this again. I hope you're all doing well and that you're healthy and happy and that things are going well in your life. Give me any updates. Has any of you had any huge life updates? I don't know. And tell me what you thought about this fic. Did you also laugh and cry and snort several times? I know I did. I love the like de-aging trope. I just love it as a whole and this is like honestly, this series I think does it the best for me personally. I just love it so much and I've reread it so many times and I know I've probably said that after every single one of these parts so far, but I just love it so much. It's so good. So hopefully I will actually stay on it next time because the next part is like my favourite one and it's so good and I cry so much every time I read it because I just really enjoy it. So I hope you all are doing well. If you like the video, please like it to boost my serotonin levels. And if you didn't, don't tell me. Please, I don't know if my self-esteem can hack it right now. But you can subscribe if you'd like to be notified whenever I make more of these. Oh, and be sure to practice some self-care, rest, drink water, eat your vegetables, brush your teeth, have a good time, or else. And yes, this is a threat. And I'll catch you guys laters.